The FBI then and now, and we all know, infiltrate organizations such as, and their COINTELPRO identifies it, the Nation of Islam and the other organizations. We know they were involved in the death of Brother Fred Hampton. And what Fred Hampton's major sin was in Chicago was that Fred Hampton looked at the young people and said, what happens here is that they grab our young people at a young age, right? You got a 60% dropout rate in Chicago right now. You don't need a crystal ball or Dionne Warwick or the psychic hotline to suggest that if I got a 50% dropout rate in 1996, that most of these people are going to be in jail or in some kind of trouble. So they can start building new prisons, and you can say, man, how can they forecast that? They got this great sociologist and criminologist from Harvard. You can forecast it if your dropout rate is 50%, that you're going to have some problems in the future. And that's what they know that. But what Fred Hampton looked at was that if they're controlling our young people at the age of 5 and 6, at this age, then we have to control them then. So he came up with the Breakfast for Children program, right? Because even the parents, and we know we got some parents out there who, as soon as you talk about bringing their children in and talking to them about black history and changing things and all this, I ain't getting involved in that mess. I got a job to keep, right? But what he figured, and what the thought was, that if I invite them in for breakfast, once I get them, because all the parents are going to go for that, right? I'm not going to have to cook on a Saturday morning. You're going to get a free meal, go out. And that's what he did. He brought the children in by whatever way he could. The bookstores back then had readings for children on Saturday morning. Get them in first. I mean, you don't have to put a sign up on the wall and say, come hear me speak about black history. Say it's a Breakfast for Children program. Come in for breakfast. And if you come in for breakfast, then you begin to talk to them. Then they begin to know you and think you're their friend because you're feeding them, right? They're not as familiar maybe as you are with the hardcore revolutionary history information, but they know bacon and eggs, right? So bring them in, get them under control, and that's the effect that Fred Hampton used. He used a strategy to get them to that point, but then he had to die because he was affecting too many young people. They were coming in masses, and he was talking to them, and it was becoming disciplined. They were becoming to call him Brother Fred. Didn't look like an authoritarian figure anymore. It looked like the guy who fed them last Saturday morning, and now they could talk to him. We know that he's for us because he's feeding us. Ain't ask us for no money, didn't ask us for anything, but he's feeding us, and he brought us in. This was his idea for the youth. The strategy for changing our communities is right there in our history books. And again, we are great at quoting history. I know when Dr. Martin Luther King birthday is, I know when Malcolm X got assassinated, I know, but can you dissect it, change it, use it, and do something about it? Can you make Brother Fred Hampton's life meaningful by picking up his Breakfast for Children program and bringing it right here to Trenton? Then you're doing something in memory of Brother Fred Hampton instead of saying, man, they killed him, they shouldn't have done that. So what are you going to do now? Yeah, they shouldn't have done that. Yes, this is a problem, but what are you going to do right now to change things? Read that history because it's important, but read it with an eye towards making things better, okay? And that's what they don't expect us to do. And again, it's not reinventing the wheel. We don't need any new scientific thinkers. We just need to read history, dissect it, and go back and use it again for what we have here. We know now, especially for those of you who have read the autopsy reports on the death of Malcolm X, that it had to be the FBI. I mean, you know that now. In reality, I mean, we could have known that then if we would have did some more intellectualizing, but we know that now for a fact. You got Gene Roberts, you've seen the photographs, with Malcolm X laying on stage, he giving him mouth-to-mouth. Now, any fool knows that you don't give mouth-to-mouth with an open chest wound because it breathes bubbles into the lung. That kills them. That's the easiest way to kill them with an open chest wound, is to give them mouth-to-mouth. And you got the photograph. They got the photograph in the book with him giving mouth-to-mouth. That's the breath of death. That's not the breath of life. You never give mouth-to-mouth with an open chest wound, right? Air bubbles in the lungs, gone. And you got photographs of them doing it. You tell me, I wonder who did that. And you know Gene Roberts wasn't informed us now. It's been told, he came out with his story, and then you tell me, I wonder who did that. And now the autopsy report show what? Anyone see the autopsy report? The bullets came chest down, and you know, we read the books that say that they shot him from the stage up, and the bullets in the corner right said the bullets entered at this angle from a chest down point. I mean, you got the facts now. They're in the COINTELPRO papers and the autopsy. And what was the FBI doing with Malcolm X autopsy anyway? But at any rate, it's in their papers, right? But at any rate, it's in their papers. They've been released now. The bullets came from chest down. They entered this way. Right away, you said, wait a minute. Everything I saw was from shooting up. And then you know that you don't give mouth-to-mouth one of those. So you know that. You know what they've done in the past. But what are you going to do now to turn that around and make his life meaningful? You know, economically speaking, I remember back during the 60s and into the, to the 70s, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that he would be in his right mind. They would say, well, how are you going to turn the community around? He said, I would be in my right mind to take every Negro, turn them upside down, shake the money out of their pocket, and take their money and build something in the community. He said, I would be in my complete right to do that, because economically we're not putting it together. And simply he would say that I've been preaching this, independence, all along, and yet nothing is being done. But now we know what happened to Malcolm. You know what happened to Martin Luther King Jr. We don't respect Dr. King, right? Every year they were having, now they changed it to a Martin Luther King Day, but they was having Martin Luther King birthday. His birthday fall on a Thursday. They moved it till a Monday so you can have a long weekend. Now, if you really respect a man who gave his life to you, why are you going to convenience yourself by making it a long weekend? You say, this is the day he died. This is the day he was born. This is the day I'm honoring him on. Don't put it on a Monday. That's disrespecting your leader itself. Oh, but it's more convenient that way because I have a 3. Well, that ain't the point. He died. He gave his life fighting for you, and now you want a convenient 3-day weekend so you can go shopping. And the world have got to look at that and say, wait a minute. Dr. King died on the 15th. Them Negroes over there have a party on the 20th. What's one got to do with the other? Not only have they set up your holidays, they've taken your leaders and moved their birthdays. And we're happy about it. 3-day weekend coming up, man. I think it's King's Day. Right? You want to make it more convenient for a man who took bullets for you. And then you say you honor him. Right? You're waiting for them to give you a Malcolm X birthday. Or an Honorable Elijah Muhammad birthday. You ain't going to declare it yourself and just take it. No, man, we're going to go to Congress and we're going to ask them, can we have this day? That's your leader. They don't care anything about him. Not at all. That is your leader, and we wait for them to give us holidays for our leader. All of them. Go back in time. Marcus Garvey, all of them. We waiting for them to give us a day for that, right? Instead of taking it, instead of honoring them by being sincere and putting it on that day. Dr. King gave all these speeches, and the one we remember the most is the one they give us every year, I Have a Dream. He's a dreamer. And a dreamer? The man said he had a dream, and you turned him into a dreamer. He was a doer. That's why he ended up dying, because he was doing, they didn't kill him because he was dreaming. If that's all he would have been doing is dreaming, they would have said, leave him alone, man, let him sleep. Right? But every year, they tell us that he was a dreamer, and they play that same I Had a Dream speech. And we know Martin Luther King made many speeches, right? He talked about the black churches not doing enough, falling asleep, leaving the people hungry, not feeding the people. And he said that if the churches continue to do that, they could sing their songs and preach their eloquent sermons, and that God wouldn't hear none of that. You don't hear that speech every year, do you? Can't play that one. That's too much of a revolutionary, Dr. King. We got to play I Have a Dream speech, right, so we can sit back and visualize and seeing people holding hands. They don't play the speech when he talked about the Vietnam War and said that we are the worst, this country in which he was in was the worst criminals in the world, right? They committed the worst crimes, and they wouldn't stop it because of their pride and arrogance. That's what he said about America, that it was pride and arrogance that made us walk all over every country in the world. Tell them to play that this January the 15th, but you ain't gonna hear that. You're gonna hear about holding hands and bells ringing in mountaintops, right? That's what you're going to hear. Tell them to give you, you want the real Martin Luther King. You want the revolutionary King, not just part of him that they pull out and call a dreamer, put on a poster to show you that march. You want, go back and listen to some of King's speeches. Go back and listen to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's speeches or Malcolm X's speech. Really listen to them for a change rather than just getting a good emotional feel-good. Listen to the revolutionary Dr. King, the one that we all want to shun, that we don't want to deal with, right? Let's go back and look at that.